Saba Khan pulled her 2012 Toyota Corolla into the circular driveway of the sprawling farmhouse on the outskirts of Lahore. The place looked like it belonged in a magazine: white columns, manicured lawns that stretched forever, a fountain lit up like it was auditioning for a Bollywood scene. She checked her reflection in the rearview mirror. No makeup, hair in a simple ponytail, plain navy shalwar kameez that had seen better days. Perfect. Exactly what they expected to see. She wasn't here as an Uber driver tonight. She was here as the mother of the bride-to-be. Her daughter, Aisha, 19 and radiant, had met Zain at university. Zain came from old money. His father owned half the textile mills in Faisalabad. His mother chaired 3 charities and never let anyone forget it. The families had agreed on a formal rishta tea to make things official. Aisha had begged her mom to come, voice trembling. "Please, Ummi, they're particular. Just be yourself." Saba had smiled. "I always am." She stepped out of the car, locked it with the familiar chirp, and walked up the marble steps carrying nothing but a small cloth handbag. No designer purse, no gold bangles clinking, just the same cheap rubber sandals she wore when she drove late-night shifts. Inside, the drawing room smelled of jasmine and money. Crystal chandeliers, silk rugs, a long table covered in silver trays of samosas, gulab jamun, and tiered sandwiches. Zain's mother, Mrs. Rehana Marek, sat like a queen in an emerald green sari dripping with zardozi. Her husband, Mr. Arif Malik, wore a crisp kurta that probably cost more than Saba's monthly rent, the one she pretended to pay. Aisha rushed over, eyes shining with nerves and love. "Ami, you came." "Of course, Beta." Saba kissed her forehead, then turned to the Maliks. Mrs. Malik's sral was polite but thin. "Mrs. Khan, how nice. Please, sit. Tea?" Saba nodded humbly. "Thank you. Just a little, if it's no trouble." They sat. The conversation started light. Weather, traffic, how beautiful the farmhouse was. Then it shifted, the way Saba knew it would. Mr. Malik cleared his throat. "So, Sabaji, what do you do these days?" Saba folded her hands in her lap. "I drive through Uber. Mostly evenings and weekends. It keeps me busy." Mrs. Malik's eyebrows lifted just enough to show surprise without showing effort. "Uber? How enterprising. It must be difficult raising a daughter alone on that kind of income." "It has its challenges," Saba said softly, "but Allah gives strength." Aisha shifted uncomfortably. Zain looked at his plate. Mrs. Malik leaned forward, voice syrupy. "We were discussing the wedding, you see. We want something tasteful but grand. Shangri-La ballroom, at least 800 guests. Of course, we'll handle most of it, the venue, catering, bridal trousseau, but there are always little things. Jewelry, perhaps, a contribution to the shoddy expenses." She paused, letting the implication hang. Saba nodded slowly. "That's very generous of you." "Yes, well," Mrs. Malik exchanged a glance with her husband. "Not every family can match that level. We understand. Aisha is a sweet girl. We don't want her to feel any burden from her side." Aisha's face flushed. "Ame contributes however she can." "Of course," Mrs. Malik cut in smoothly. "Intention matters more than amount. We'll manage the bulk. Maybe you could help with small things. Decor, perhaps? Or the Mendi outfits for the girls?" Saba looked down at her hands, calloused from years of gripping a steering wheel. "I'll do whatever I can." The room relaxed a fraction. They thought they had handled the poor mother situation delicately. Then Mrs. Malik delivered the final gentle stab. "We just want to make sure Aisha starts her married life without financial stress. Some mothers can't provide that security. It's sad, really. But we're here now." Sabah lifted her eyes. For the first time that evening, her voice lost its deliberate softness. Security, she repeated quietly. That's important. Mrs. Mollick smiled, thinking she'd won. Exactly. Saba reached into her cloth bag and pulled out her phone, an old Samsung with a cracked screen protector. She opened her banking app. The screen lit up. She turned it toward the table so everyone could see. The balance read, PKR 4,087,324,119. Mrs. Mollick blinked. What is this? My personal account, Saba said calmly. One of them. Silence. Mr. Mollick leaned in. This must be a mistake. No mistake. Saba swiped to another app, her investment portfolio dashboard. Mutual funds, term deposits, blue chip stocks. Total liquid assets, over 22 crore. She swiped again. Company registration documents. 3 software houses. Total staff, 180 plus. Annual revenue in the high 9 figures. Her name listed as 51% owner and managing partner. Aisha gasped. Ami, what? Sabal looked at her daughter tenderly. I never told you, Betta. I wanted you to grow up strong, not spoiled, not waiting for someone else's money. Mrs. Mollick's face had gone pale under the foundation. You own companies? Silent partner, mostly, Sabah said. I started the first one 15 years ago with savings from night shifts and freelance coding I taught myself. The others grew from there. I kept driving Uber because I like people. I like hearing their stories, and it kept me grounded. No one looks twice at an Uber driver. No one expects anything. Zane stared at the screen like it might bite him. So the apartment in DHA Phase 8? I bought it 6 months ago, Saba said. Title is already in Aisha's name, ready for after the nikah, fully furnished. I was going to surprise her. Mrs. Mollick's hand trembled on her teacup. Why pretend? Why come here like this? Saba met her eyes. Because I wanted to see how you would treat me if you thought I had nothing. I wanted to know what kind of family my daughter was marrying into. People who value bank balances over hearts, or people who value hearts first. The room felt smaller, heavier. Aisha's eyes filled with tears. Ami, all those nights you came home late saying the fares were bad, you were coming from board meetings? Saba nodded. Sometimes. Mostly I just drove. It gave me time to think, to plan, to pray. Mr. Mollick cleared his throat, voice hoarse. We didn't know. You didn't ask, Saba said gently. You assumed. Mrs. Mollick stared at the phone screen as if it had personally insulted her. This changes everything. No, Saba corrected. It changes nothing. Aisha and Zane love each other. That's what matters. But now you know who I really am, and you know I never needed your charity. I never needed your ballroom or your trousseau. I needed my daughter to be loved for who she is, not for what someone else can pay. Aisha stood up, walked to her mother, and hugged her tightly. I'm so proud of you, Ami. I always was. Now I just understand more. Saba hugged her back, then looked at the Mollicks. The wedding can be whatever you want. Small, big, simple, grand. I'll pay for whatever portion you feel is fair, or none. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is how we treat each other after today. Mrs. Mollick swallowed hard. For the first time, her voice cracked. We were unkind. You were honest about what you value, Saba said. Now be honest about what you want to change. Mr. Mollick stood slowly. Mrs. Khan, Sabaji, we owe you an apology. Saba shook her head. Apologies are easy. Change is hard. Show me change. The evening ended quietly. No more talk of burdens or contributions, just tea that had gone cold and a family sitting in stunned silence. Later, in the car on the way home, Aisha sat in the passenger seat. the same seat countless strangers had occupied. "Ami," she whispered, "why Uber, really?" Saba smiled at the road ahead. "Because when I drive, people talk to me like I'm human. Not a bank account, not a charity case. Just Saba. And that's worth more than any crore." Aisha reached over and squeezed her hand. "I want to be like you." "You already are," Saba said. "Just keep your heart bigger than your wallet. That's the only secret that matters." Weeks later, the wedding happened, not at the Shangri-La, but in a simple garden hall. 200 guests, white tents, fairy lights, home-cooked biryani. Saba wore the same navy shalwar kameez she'd worn to the rishta tea. No one commented on it. Mrs. Malik arrived in a modest cream outfit, no Zardozi. She hugged Saba at the entrance, awkwardly at first, then tighter. "Thank you," she whispered, "for showing us what real security looks like." Saba smiled. "It's never too late to learn." As Aisha walked down the aisle on Zain's arm, Saba stood at the back, phone in hand, not checking balances, but taking photos. Later, she would drive home alone in her old Corolla, windows down, city lights blurring past. She turned on the radio. A slow song came on. She didn't take a fare that night. She didn't need to. She was already home.